This is Algebra 1, Lesson 1, 2, Order of Operations. The objectives are: evaluate numerical expressions by using the order of operations, evaluate algebraic expressions by using the order of operations. First of all, in our vocabulary, we have evaluate, to find the value of an expression. Order of operations. There are 4 steps. Number 1, evaluate expressions inside grouping symbols. Number 2, evaluate all powers. Number 3, do all multiplications and or divisions from left to right. And number 4, do all additions and or subtractions from left to right. I'd like to go over this handout that you have called the Order of Operations. PEMDAS is what I use as the acronym to help remember the order of operations. First of all, when you are given an expression, you look for parentheses. These are any kind of grouping symbols, not just parentheses, but they could be brackets, they could be absolute value signs, but parentheses are always completed first. The E represents the word exponents. You also might know this as powers. So after you're done completing the P part of order of operations, look for exponents. After exponents, you need to look for multiplication and division from left to right. If division comes first, you will do the division and then do the multiplication, but you have to work from left to right. And that's all done in the same step. Then addition and subtraction after you've completed multiplication and division, and that is also done in the same step from left to right. We will be referring back to this paper in order to help us remember the order that we need to take in order to evaluate these expressions. First of all, in example 1, what operation do you see? Exponents. And what does this 2 to the 6th power mean? It actually means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Because the definition of exponent was it tells us how many times to write the base in order to multiply. So if you were to put this into your calculator, such as 2, and then the caret sign, and 6, and select enter, you should get 64. Now go back to the left side of your notes for example 2. Following the order of operations, we need to be able to evaluate this expression. So first of all, we look for parentheses. There are no parentheses. Next, we look for exponents, and I do see an area where we have exponents. So 2 to the 3rd power is 8. Since we just did exponents, we need to drop everything else down that was not touched. So 48 divided by 8 times 3 plus 5. After exponents, it says we are to do multiplication and division from left to right. So I see division and I see multiplication. So we're going to start all the way to the left with our first part. 48 divided by 8 is 6. And now I'm going to bring down the rest. And again, we have multiplication. So 6 times 8, 18. Add 5, and we have 23. And I would try to write this underneath. When you get done, it's going to look kind of like a slice of pizza. Example 3, go across to the right side of your notes. What do we look for first? Parentheses. We have 2 sets of parentheses. We can do them both in the same line. First of all, 8 minus 3 is 5. 3 plus 2 is 5. Bring down the rest of your problem. And we have multiplication straight across. Multiplication here and here. Everything inside the parentheses is done. I don't see any exponents, so let's move on to our multiplication. 5 times 3, remember we're going from left to right, is 15. And the remainder is 15 times 5, which is 75. And that's how you do example 3. Now let's move on to example 4. We have a lot going on in this expression. Let's look at the different operations we have. I believe I see multiplication, division, subtraction, exponents, and we have 2 sets of grouping symbols. So we need to start inside and work our way out. If you look at the parentheses, they are inside the brackets. So this is actually where we start. Do this operation, 6 minus 2, and you have 4. Bring down everything else. We still have grouping symbols here. Inside the brackets, we have 12 divided by 4, which would be 3. Bring down everything else. All of our grouping symbols are taken care of now. We have multiplication and we have exponents. It's at this place where a lot of students could make a mistake. After you get done with your grouping symbols, then some students automatically think, well, let's just go from left to right now. But if you do that, you're not following the order. We actually have to look for exponents after we're done with our grouping symbols. So we are going to do 3 squared first, and that is 9. And now we have 4 times 9, which is 36. Example 5. We are to evaluate. This is an algebraic expression, and we need to substitute the values that are given to us for x, y, and z. So that is going to be your first step. Rewrite your problem so that x is now 4 and y is 3. Put down your next operation and substitute 2 for z. This looks like something that we've been working with previously. Again, go through your order of operations. Let's look for parentheses. This set of parentheses, you can't do anything inside of it. But let's look at this set. We have 4 squared minus 3. So if we are to just look at this part of the problem, we have an exponent and we have subtraction, which would be first. Exponents actually come before subtraction whenever we're doing the correct order. So let's work on the exponent. 4 squared is 16. So now inside of our parentheses, we have 16 minus 3, and bring down the rest of your problem. We still are not finished inside these parentheses, so let's go ahead and evaluate here. 16 minus 3 is 13. Bring down the rest of your problem. Now we're left with multiplication, addition, and an exponent. After we finish grouping symbols, our next step of order says to do exponents. So let's move over here and do the 2 squared, which is 4. So now we have 2 times 13 plus 4. Multiplication and addition are remaining. Which one should be done first? According to our order, the operation of multiplication should be done first. 2 times 13 is 26. Now we have 16 plus 4. Add those together and you get 30. Lastly, we're going to have the real life situation. Follow along as I read. Each side of the Great Pyramid at Giza, Egypt, is a triangle. The base of each triangle once measured 230 meters. The height of each triangle measured 187 meters. The area of a triangle is 1/2 the product of its base, B, and height, H. Write and evaluate an expression. So we are writing an expression for the side. I went ahead and wrote down some important information that I picked out of the word problem. We know that each side of the pyramid is a triangle. So I like to draw pictures to help me see what I'm working with. And it says the base is 230 meters and its height is 187 meters. And it says to find the area, we have to substitute base as 230, height as 187. So we're looking at 1/2 times 230 times 187. And you can work from left to right on this. 1/2 of 230 is 115. So then you have 115 times 187. Multiply these together and you come up with 21,505. Don't forget your labeling. We're talking about meters here. And anytime we're finding the area of an object, it's always squared. That is all for this lesson. You will have the assignment that goes with it tomorrow.